Welcome to the introduction for our interactive creative labs here on the other side. In the future, I will get a lot more technical and in depth, but for now, I just wanted to kick off the concept of ICL project as a whole. As it's an evolving idea, I'm sure we'll add more dimensions and features as time moves along, but currently I'm working on creating some behind the scenes windows into my own creative process, which will include tutorials, walkthroughs, workshops, sharing how I wrote songs that are from the past or how I'm working on writing songs now, making edits, creating sets and mixtapes, how I produce records, but also just how I have fun playing with sound. Because it can be a really simple process or a really complicated, in-depth one, or both at the same time. I also want to do special features on other artists and unlocked members who have submitted whips or works in progress, their own projects, things that they're working on that I can kind of take apart or weigh in on or interact with. And soon I'm looking forward to doing live interactive sessions with you, live collaborations on the other side. But for now, I'll just share some broad strokes. I started getting into music when I was around 12. First, when my uncle gave me a drum and taught me about rhythm and percussion. And soon after that, I got a guitar and learned just enough basics so that I could make a death metal band with my friends. And honestly, playing music with other people was probably the most important, pivotal, moment for me, learning not only how to best participate with rhythm as a human, but also to create music and play music. Without realizing it, but looking back, I started experimenting with electronic music production like fucking freshman year of high school, just by making death metal with my friends. I'd record myself and my friends using just like the simple tape deck on my boombox. And also, my friend Bud had a 4-track recorder, so eventually we could record, 4 simultaneous tracks and mix them together, etc. And we all had, distortion pedals for our guitars, but I got a really robust effects pedal that had like 6 or 7 channels with all different kinds of effects and parameters you could tweak and combine together. And, it had everything from distortion, overdrive, saturation. I started messing with compression, EQ, delay, reverb, all the basics. And then in college, I enrolled in the electronic music program. And we went so deep into everything from, hand splicing reel-to-reel tape together using fucking Scotch tape on the audio tape that you'd cut up. We covered, sequencers, samplers, synths. There was a custom EMU modular synth that was like floor to ceiling. And you would just have a big chunk of patch cables over your shoulder and just patch the sound together, realizing that it was all just electrical current that you're modeling to represent the sound that you want to sculpt. And after college, I developed a program for Red Bull called the Music Labs, where we would teach an intensive week-long production course at seminars around the country. And it was there that I started to realize how tricky it is or can be to teach electronic music, because the universe is so vast and so complex, so intricate. Everyone who has even traveled the farthest has really only begun to scratch the surface, myself included. And for this reason, I'm going to take kind of a Mr. Miyagi approach. So you can be Daniel-san and, you want to kick ass, but I'm going to take my time and explore wax on, wax off, and sand the floor and paint the fence. And that's another tricky element to sharing about this kind of thing, is that everyone who's tuning in is at a totally distinct, unique place with their own creativity. Some of you are probably already producing savage music that is totally final and doesn't need any help or critique or even feedback. Some of you are just getting started, and others, I'm sure, are curious but have no intention of ever, actually producing music. Everyone uses a different DAW. I use Ableton at this point, but I've worked in pretty much, in a lot of them. That's another complicating issue. What the fuck is a DAW? D-A-W. DAW, by the way, stands for Digital Audio Workstation. It's essentially the central program that someone uses where they incorporate all their different instruments, sound sources, their mixer. It's like your music studio. And it's software at this point, for sure. But anyways, back to my point, there's so many terms and abbreviations and so much minutia. I'm not really sure how to best approach the ICL project for that reason. But I think I'm just gonna produce some ICL content for beginners and some for advanced, and we'll see how it goes from there. For example, this loop here in the background, I'll briefly walk you through what I did here, and I'd love your feedback on this part especially. Do you want me to go more granular or more big picture? Are there specific areas of my process you're curious about, or specific technical or functional mountains you're trying to climb that you want feedback on? Anyways, started off with this simple loop, and I had to freeze it. I'm on a new computer, and really only half of my software works. I definitely, back in the day, cracked software and whatever, but about 20 years ago, just started, felt like I really wanted to buy everything, pay for licenses, support the companies. I'm the same when it comes to downloading music. I might, get promos of music, but I'll still go and buy not just the track, but the album from the artist, just because I really love supporting. Anyways, this is a frozen track on a Sylenth, which is a soft synth that's running through Saturator, which does many things, but it kind of warms up and intensifies the sound. I can't wait to talk about EQ. EQ essentially is this kind of horizontal space represents the entire spectrum of sound from the lowest to the highest. I got an EQ that ain't gonna be frozen, so let's find one. Here's the drums. Really, really basic drums here. I don't usually produce drums like this, where it's just audio clips that are placed in a pattern. It's certainly how I started off learning in a sequencer. Now I do prefer to use what they call a drum rack in Ableton, but it's like a drum machine. Let's see if there's a goddamn EQ on here. There ain't no EQ. Okay, here we go. There's an EQ. So I'll make a new one. And essentially with the EQ, it's really cool because what's going on down here, and you can see it's saying it's 11 hertz. So this represents the lowest. This is like if an earthquake happens and you feel the sound. Certainly what you'd feel with like a rocket ship or bass, but I'm talking like earthquake, where you're not hearing it, you're not it's not really even bass. It's just this bizarre frequency, this level of energy that we call sound. And one of the things I find so interesting is that it's all one thing. It's energy, and energy moves in waves. Like you hear people talk about a waveform. What the fuck are they talking about? It's basically a wave that goes up and then down and then starts over again. And if you have a wave that creates one single pass of itself in this space, that's its frequency, because it does one pass per measure, essentially. Whereas if it went like this, whoop, 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 that's a faster, because it's happening more frequently. And if it was like digga, 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 like tons and tons and tons of waves, that's even more frequency. It's happening more frequently, and it's a higher frequency. So when you go to the left here, you stop dealing with sound. And I don't know, much beyond this, but I do know that the same material, whatever it is, at different frequencies is just different things. It's X-rays, it's radio waves, it's sound, it's light. But this is the spectrum of energy frequency that we call sound. And so this is the lowest, and this is the low mids, which is kind of like the lows in my voice. This is like, 125-ish would be your kick, the main kind of kick drum. Snares have a nice like resonance here and a punch there, but they also smack right around there. The vocals are around there. Those hi-hats we hear and the shakers are all up here in the high frequency. And as it gets higher and higher, I don't know if it becomes the fucking X-ray or infrared, but you'll hit like the dog whistle that we can't really quite tell. And this is a usually pretty painful frequency of sound that you want to keep a lot of control on. Anyways, I will chat your ear off more about that crap later. But so yeah, that's the drums. What's going on in this shaker thing? On this computer, I can't open my Serum yet to show you, but I really have been loving using Serum to create like the percussion, make it really wide and control the patterns by hand instead of just using drum slices. I'll get more into that later. Have some nice, just sweeping noises, like some hissing. And then I was feeling like, okay, I got this pretty little shimmering sound, and I wanted to run this. As you can see, I'll see if I've got a MIDI channel. Right, here we go. So MIDI is essentially using these little It's essentially using these little notes to correspond to a note on, in this case, a piano. And I can explain it more later. Where the fuck's that from? I pulled in all colors, and all colors I wrote at 150 BPM. This is at 90. So this is all colors slowed down. It's also starts off, filtered out. So as the filter opens up, there's just a lot more sound that comes through. And so over here, I ran the pattern of that little shimmer, this guy, just tried running that through the all colors synth. Sounds fucking dope. I love this so much. This is my teenage air guitar, kind of like rock and roll metal guitar lead sound. It's just what I've loved ever since I was a kid. Just that it's dreamy, it's enchanting, it's kind of sad, it's solemn, but it's beautiful, and it works over like the ugliest sounds and the softest sounds. But I just use that to kind of fill it up. And obviously you guys want to hear, I think, the kind of dirtier stuff. So I did have like a section in here. And again, those growls are in serum, so it'll be, who knows if it's going to take days or hours or weeks, but at some point I'll be able to open this up to show you. Right now it just looks like this on this goddamn computer. I'm using my other computer to produce on, and this new one is what I got to try and make these demos. But anyways, that's that. And again, hit me with your feedback on if you enjoyed this, and if there's certain things you want to learn more about, or your own kind of interests and what you want to study or explore for yourself with creativity. We can pretty much apply this to anything. It doesn't have to be just music. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the future here with you guys. Lots of love.